How do you really get to know a leader? I mean, a leader who completely reshaped a nation. Sure, you could listen to their speeches, you could read their big proclamations, but what if you could actually get inside their head? What if you could see their private thoughts, the arguments they had with authors long dead, and pinpoint the exact moments new ideas were born? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do.
Okay, let's just jump right in. Take a look at this. It's a page from a history book about Ottoman sultans. The text says one sultan is the son of another. But look closer at that handwriting. That's Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, and he's crossing it out and rewriting the correct family tree. Now, this isn't just some minor correction. This is a statement. He's not just passively absorbing information. He is actively engaging with it, debating it, and, well, correcting it.
So today, we're going on a pretty unique journey. We're not heading to a battlefield or a government building. Nope, we are going into the margins of the books Atatürk read. Because it's right here, in these notes and scribbles, that he built the intellectual blueprint for the entire modern Republic of Turkey.
And that's really the key to all of this. His library, it wasn't some collection of fancy books to impress people. It was a workshop. It was a laboratory. It was the place where he hammered out ideas, tested theories, and figured out exactly what went wrong in the past so he could build a different future.
So, where does our journey begin? You might think it starts with Turkish history, right? But nope. It starts with the history of the entire world. Atatürk's reading was incredibly wide-ranging, starting all the way back at the origins of civilization itself. He wanted to understand the big picture, the deep currents that shaped all of humanity.
You have to understand, he never, and I mean ever, just took an author's word for it. For him, every single book was a conversation, and sometimes it was a pretty heated argument. He questioned everything, he challenged assumptions, and he was constantly checking one source against another.
And this right here is his method in action. Look at the left. He's reading about ancient Turks, and he scribbles down M. Iliad. That's a note to himself to go check another scholar's work. He's fact-checking on the fly. And on the right, he just puts a giant X through an entire passage he completely disagrees with. This is not passive reading, this is intellectual combat.
This next one is amazing. It just perfectly shows his modern critical mind. Here's a section in a book talking about some really outdated and unscientific theories on race. And what does Atatürk do? He draws a huge X across the whole thing. He is physically rejecting these ideas, literally wiping the slate clean right there on the page. So, after studying the history of the world, he turned that exact same sharp, critical eye inward. He aimed it squarely at the history of his own people and the long, slow, painful decline of the Ottoman Empire. But his goal here wasn't nostalgia. He wasn't reading these books to glorify the good old days. Far from it. He was basically performing a clinical autopsy. He needed to know with surgical precision what went wrong. The bad decisions, the institutional rot, the political failures, all of it, to make sure his new republic wouldn't catch the same disease. He traced the whole trajectory, He's looking for the exact moments where things started to go south. From the absolute peak of power in 1453 to that first major crack in the foundation with the Treaty of Karlowitz, and finally to the rise of nationalism in the 19th century that just tore the empire apart from the inside. And he really zoomed in on the internal problems. Here we're looking at a passage about the constant, destructive infighting over who would be the next sultan. And what do we see? There it is again, that simple, powerful X. He's flagging a specific point of failure, a deep-seated weakness that crippled the empire for generations. It's a diagnosis of a fatal flaw.
Okay, but figuring out what went wrong is only half the battle, right? To find a cure, to find a model for a totally new kind of country, he looked to the great revolutions that had already shaken up the world.
His reading list was pretty much a who's who of world-changing events. I mean, he studied the English Civil War and the rise of Cromwell. He dug deep into the ideas behind the American Revolution. And of course, he dissected the French Revolution, learning everything he could about citizenship, nationalism, and the power of the people.
And this page right here might just be one of the most revealing clues in his entire library. The book is talking about how the American states were founded, not by chance, not by some divine right, but by the will of intelligent people. Now look at how he marked that passage. He's not just underlining it, he is practically carving it into the page. This was the idea that lit a fire in him. So,
This brings us to the final and most important step in our whole journey. We've seen Ataturk the reader, the critic, the student of history. But now we get to see how all of that reading prepared him to become the author of history himself.
So what does happen? What's the result when a lifetime of critical reading, of questioning everything, of learning from every failure and every success of the past, is suddenly given the power to build a brand new nation from scratch?
The answer really lies in the core belief he took from all those books. A belief that's best captured by that line he marked so heavily, that nations are the work of intelligent people, that human beings are the creators of their own circumstances. He completely rejected the idea of fate or destiny. He believed people had the power to shape their own world.
And this is the ultimate full circle moment. This page shows his handwriting in a book called The Anatolian Revolution. Think about that. He is no longer just reading about other people's revolutions. He is now studying, planning, and annotating the very historical event that he himself is leading. The reader has become the main character of the story.
In the end, Ataturk's library leaves us with this one powerful thought. You know, we have that old saying, history is written by the victors. But maybe, it's more accurate to say that history is written by those who've actually done the reading.